Loneliness. Loneliness is the human condition. Cultivate it. The way it tunnels into you allows your soul room to grow. Never expect to outgrow loneliness. Never hope to find people who will understand you, someone to fill that space. An intelligent, sensitive person is the exception, the very great exception. If you expect to find people who will understand you, you will grow murderous with disappointment. The best you'll ever do is to understand yourself, know what it is that you want, and not let the cattle stand in the way. That is by Janet Finch from White Oleander. Hey guys, so this week we're talking about loneliness. I did a bit of research, mainly because I wanted to find some quotes, because there are some brilliant quotes from people, because everyone has experienced loneliness at least at some point in their life. The common understanding is that loneliness is a universal human condition, meaning every single human being experiences it. There are different kinds of loneliness, transient and chronic, one being more temporary and one always being there. With transient loneliness, which everyone experiences, it's temporary and there's usually a simple way to relieve it. It's also often caused by outside forces. So one example I saw was that, let's say you're sick and maybe you're sick for a week and so you're not around people. You get a bit lonely because you're lacking any of that community or companionship. But once you get better, you are able to dissolve that loneliness and continue on with your life. Chronic loneliness is more so caused by yourself, not that you intentionally are trying to be lonely. There's lots of different things that cause it. It's also much more difficult to get rid of, to alleviate. And oftentimes there's always a lingering of loneliness. So you can be amongst a large group of people, or even with, let's say, 5 friends or something, yet still feel incredibly alone. People can experience loneliness for a moment, just have a day where you're just feeling incredibly lonely, and then it dissipates and you seem to continue on. Sometimes people can have bouts for days, weeks, months, and sometimes people live a lifetime of feeling lonely. It really depends on the person and the underlying reasons for that loneliness. Some common reasons: not feeling like you have anybody close to share yourself with, your thoughts, feelings, losing a best friend or a family member or a lover. Depression can cause loneliness. Being socially awkward also is a big reason for loneliness. So what it comes down to is just that lack of connectedness or community. And there's a difference between being lonely and being a loner. One desires some type of connectedness where the other one desires their solitude. Some things that loneliness is linked to: depression, suicide, alcoholism. I didn't find specifically drug addiction, but I imagine that that is in the realm. In kids, you'll often find self-destructive behavior, hostile behavior, or being delinquent. So maybe if your child is appearing to act out and there's something going on at school, maybe they're getting in trouble a lot, look into them possibly being lonely. I suppose that this could there could be a connection between being a bully and being lonely, because I think we often associate with kids that the person being bullied is the one who's lonely and sad. And you see that, with school shootings and stuff like that, it's come out that a lot of times these people were secluded and lonely individuals. But I'm willing to bet that the bullies themselves are probably lonely too, and this is a act out for attention, some type of acceptance and community in that way. It's also linked to poor mental health and physical health. You can go online and look there. I mean, from cancer to strokes to heart attacks, well, with mental health, depression, anxiety, and suicide. So loneliness sucks. Depending on what type of loneliness you are experiencing, there's different ways to help yourself. Seeking help through therapy is probably one of the best ways to help yourself, because you can open up and talk to someone. It may be difficult, it'll probably take a little bit, but it will help you move in the direction of getting rid of some of those feelings. Also, diet and exercise. Sometimes medications will be prescribed. I imagine with different types of chronic loneliness, there'll be underlying issues, and medications will probably help. Another thing too, pets. Pets help with loneliness. I have dogs, and in when I'm experiencing moments of just feeling alone, just being by them giving you this unconditional love, it eases your hopelessness, if that makes sense. And then another thing I saw that seemed interesting to me, it said that nostalgia can often help with loneliness. I don't know about chronic, but it has a restorative effect and helps you remember, if you have those memories of social experiences and interactions. My main advice, even though I don't always take my own advice, is to work on yourself. I kind of think that that's my advice for almost everything, because you are with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever, until you die. You are who you're with. So why not always be working on who you are instead of seeking an outward acceptance or for validation or whatever you feel you may be missing? It just makes sense to me that since you're with yourself, why not be the person that you want to be the person that you would like to meet. You just have to remember that everyone experiences loneliness, and even though when you're in the midst of it, you feel so alone, I think with having access to the internet these days, there's an easier, safer feeling way to attempt to connect with someone. Whereas, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't as simple. And then, hundreds of years ago, how did we connect? However, there is something to be said with, even though being online and having these social media websites, we are more connected yet more alone. So that's something to think about. I'm going to leave with a couple quotes. I'm just a quote person. I told you before, I have a Bible of quotes that help me get through moments, including loneliness. It's the knowing that someone else in the world has at one point experienced what I have, or what I am experiencing currently, that keeps me going. That's a connectedness for me. Maybe it'll help other people too. Anyways, on Goodreads, there's thousands of quotes surrounding loneliness. I didn't even get past the first page because I found like 3 that I really liked and connected with, which I will share with you right now. I have absolutely no pleasure in the stimulants in which I sometimes so madly indulge. It has not been in the pursuit of pleasure that I have periled life and reputation and reason. It has been the desperate attempt to escape from torturing memories, from a sense of insupportable loneliness and a dread of some strange impending doom. Edgar Allan Poe. I just thought that accurately described humans. When I get lonely these days, I think, so be lonely, Liz. Learn your way around loneliness. Make a map of it. Sit with it. For once in your life, sit with it for once in your life. Welcome to the human experience. But never again use another I'm really good at reading today. But never again use another person's body or emotions as a scratching post for your own unfulfilled yearnings. Elizabeth Gilbert from Eat, Pray, Love. I really related to that one because my first piece of advice that I was thinking was, we run from so many things, which makes, or from loneliness. We're just talking about loneliness. So we run from it. We don't want to feel it. So we drink, we cover up, we do drugs, we try to quiet the feelings, the thoughts. And with her, with the quote and how I was feeling, it was like, just sit with it. It's okay. It's okay to be lonely, which is my piece of advice from before too. It's okay. Sit with it and work on yourself. Boom, because you're always with yourself. And then one of the most common, well, maybe it's not common. It seems common to me. But Jean-Paul Sartre, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. I have never really felt like I say his name right. He said, if you're lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company. Which goes hand in hand with work on yourself, create who you want to be. I don't know if I'm making it or I'm being lighthearted about it, because loneliness sucks, but there are things to do to help yourself, and everyone experiences it, which I feel like gives a sense of okayness. I don't know. I'm still learning. Share your experiences, your advice. What do you do to help when you're having a bout of loneliness? Leave a comment below. If you like the video, thumbs it up. And that's it. So I will see you guys next Tuesday.